got one that can see.
He's a tall, Caucasian male wearing sunglasses.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through...
Things giving me a headache.
Yeah, tell me about it. Us took the hackers months to figure out how to do this.
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. We keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated. They are dismantling the sleeping middle class. More and more people are becoming poor. We are their cattle. We are being bred for slavery. The revolution...
This Appaloosa mare named Lady was found dead and stripped of flesh from the neck up in September 1967 on a ranch in Colorado's San Luis Valley. Hi, I'm Linda Howe. Since that horse's strange death, thousands of cattle and other animals have been cut up in strange, bloodless ways throughout the world. In many cases, unidentified lights and even creatures have been seen near mutilation sites. Hundreds of people have also reported encounters with non-human beings like this one that have very large black eyes. And I have seen a government document which states that extraterrestrial biological entities known as EBAs have been retrieved from crashed silver discs since the 1940s. As a TV producer and documentary filmmaker, I first encountered evidence of alien life forms intruding on this planet when I investigated the animal mutilations in 1980. The ranchers and law enforcement I talked to describe bright and silent lights in the sky and tripod marks in pastures where dead and mutilated animals have been found.
The strange thing about it is that we have never found any blood on them.
Blood?
No blood, no.
Tracks?
The only tracks that we found on the first one were some tripod tracks, and they formed some like a triangle. I didn't know what to think. It was kind of strange because we had never seen anything like that before.
One other place in 1976 north of town on a very hard pasture, almost like hard brick. We found tripod marks 12 inches across. The tripod marks were 14 feet apart. We found one set that had gone in the ground roughly 8 inches. And it would take a good post hole digger or our shovel to dig in like this. It indicated something very heavy had set down in this area, yet there was no tracks leading from it nor to it. Almost nightly when this was going on, we could pick out a very brilliant, huge, brilliant light in the sky. We had a newsman take pictures of it with a very high-powered lens, but all we got out of this was the movement of it and the light showing very brilliant. Several times we observed and those smaller lights come out of this aircraft and then come down toward Earth. This huge, brilliant light would hang in the air, and then when it would move, it could move up and down, backwards, forwards, travel very rapidly. And after a while, these smaller lights would join up with the larger one, and then they'd disappear.
One of the investigators I've been working with for 5 years dropped in the office, and we discussed what was new. And he said, well, the thing is now, I'll tell you. He says, and I'm inclined to agree with him, that who is doing this now is very possibly creatures not of this planet. Now that, you know, that shakes you up a little bit. Creatures not of this planet. You know, you're thinking of Buck Rogers and things like this. But that's the way it is seriously right now. That it's very, very possible that these mutilations are being done by creatures from outer space.
Creatures from outer space. That's what a Waco, Texas rancher told me he thought he saw when he encountered 2 4-foot beings with large black slanted eyes and heads, he said, shaped like big eggs with the pointed end down. Between them, they were carrying a calf. The rancher was so scared he ran away, and it took him 3 days to get up the courage to go back. Then he took his wife and son with him. There in the mesquite, they found the calf's hide neatly and bloodlessly cut and folded on the ground. And recently in Missouri, I talked with a couple who watched in broad daylight as non-human creatures worked on a cow in a nearby pasture.
It was a day like today in 1983 when we seen this object. Well, it wasn't an object, it was a shining back there. We didn't know what it was. And I couldn't really get a clear picture of it. I went in the house and got my binoculars and looked out across the field and make out what was out there, and I couldn't really see very good because of the way the terrain is here.
But with your naked eye, you'd seen some stuff glittering.
Yeah, I did, glittering.
And what about you?
Well, that's what he told me. He said, there's something out there. I keep seeing something flickering. It's out of the ordinary. You just don't see something, you know, shining and flickering across.
And so it's right out here.
Mm-hmm. It was right across there.
Now, when you got here and you put the binoculars up, what exactly could you see?
Well, when I put the binoculars up and looked in there, there was a green cone-shaped craft back there. It was green and looked solid. And it had there was a door on it with a platform coming out onto the side of the hill. And then the lizard-type creature, he was standing next to the cone-shaped ship. So I told Paula, I said, look, Paula, there's something back there. Look at this. Look at this. And she took the binoculars and looked through them.
I took them and I looked. Just like that. And I couldn't see I didn't see the craft, but I could see the creature.
Now,
and then I got to...
Which creature?
It had big green eyes. And it looked like leaves on it, or like it was camouflaged. And I'm looking at it, and then it looked at me with its big eyes, and my heart just stopped beating, and I couldn't breathe. And I just said, it's staring right back at me. And so then I handed them back to Ron. I said, I saw the thing, and it's looking right back at me. And so then he started looking some more, and I was really getting scared.
Now, where is it? Which one saw the cow and these 2 little griffins?
That's where we looked again. I was back there trying to find out where that ship and everything was, back and forth, and I could see it. And I passed the binoculars back to Paula again because we were fighting back and forth with the binoculars. Man, we
wanted to see, because I keep thinking, has it moved? You know.
And that's when she looked and seen that little.
I looked at, because see, then I'm looking over there and I'm thinking, all right, if he's right there, then what's was shining? And I saw this big black cow laying down with its mouth, and I said, my God, they got a cow. But what are they doing to it? And it was just laying there. And it had its eyes open, and its tongue was like hanging out a little bit, not real bad, but it just laid there and didn't move. And they just were running their fingers over it like that, and running them down it and looking at their fingers.
Now, these are 2 little white?
2 little silver beings, and their heads, it didn't look like there was no helmet on. So, because I thought, I wonder if they can breathe our air, so you would think like an astronaut helmet or something. But I didn't see nothing like that. But they had these little packs on their back.
Okay, now show me again. Let's say that the cow...
And the cow was laying down.
Here. And it's completely still.
Uh-huh. And its head is like right where your foot would be, and its mouth's open. And then there was one being on one side and one on the other. And they just reached over to it and were like fingering through its hair on its neck. Because like, see, there's its neck and the head. And they were just doing like that. And then looking at their fingers. Then the next thing is they had their hands over it, and there was a black ramp. And they just went like this, and the cow just went up, and it just floated right up the ramp into a hill. And once it got into the hill, like where the trees are, see?
You mean like a conveyor belt or something?
Yeah.
Did they just like float? Did the cow float?
The cow just floated right up. And I mean, there was nobody hauled it. I mean, it just moved right onto that ramp and just went right up and disappeared right into the hill, into where the trees are and everything. And it looked like there was actually a hill that it went up into.
Which was the ship. And Paula got me real nervous.
I got scared.
She got real scared because she said, hey, if they're doing that to animals, what can they, what's next? Here we are, a family. They can come over here and do as they well please if they're doing,
Out in the boondocks. We told everyone, said, oh man, we saw these aliens out there with this cow. They said, oh, sure you did. Nobody could find nothing.
Like we were crazy.
So later on I said, oh, how's everything going with your cows over there? And he said, yeah, we're missing a cow. I said, oh, really? Is it a black cow? They said, yeah.
A Colorado man named Drexel Lawson has a livestock removal service. He's been working the 9-county area around Denver and Colorado Springs since 1977, picking up dead livestock. Over a 2-year period, he hauled off about 4,000 dead animals, including several mutilated cattle.
My first mutilated pickup was in 77. It was in the late afternoon, late evening, and frankly scared the hell out of me because I wasn't used to seeing things like that. The incisions a lot of times looks like some type of burn or laser. The eyes on a particular cattle that I picked up has had a marbly clear look, which looks like it's a flash burn or some type of a laser burn.
The term laser burn came up in several conversations with ranchers and law enforcement people. So we decided to see how laser surgery is done. This instrument is called a CO2 laser. It will be used to remove scar tissue from a woman's vocal cords. This mobile laser unit stands about 8 feet high and weighs about 400 pounds. In the hospital, it is powered by AC current from a wall plug. Experienced medical technicians need 20 minutes to get the laser unit ready for surgery. Clearly, it's not a convenient tool to drag around remote ranch lands. But because of the alleged burns found on some mutilated animals, a few people have jumped to the conclusion that maybe lasers are involved. It is true that lasers seal off blood vessels as they penetrate tissue, so there is little or no bleeding. The depth of penetration is controlled by the power of the beam and length of time it is on. When the laser beam hits tissue, heat is generated, which turns cell water to steam and vaporizes away. Could a laser do the strange cuts found on mutilated cattle? We asked Dr. Arlen Myers, an experienced laser surgeon at Rose Medical Center in Denver.
I've been examining 2 photographs of alleged cattle mutilations in Logan County, and they show 2 quite distinct pictures. One is a large hole that has surrounding burns and charred material. The other is a very nice clean cut and has relatively normal underlying tissue. The first picture, I think, conceivably could have been caused by a burning or lasing type instrument, although I think it would be very difficult, given the state of the art today, at least to my knowledge, to bring a device to a field and inflict this sort of damage on a piece of livestock. In more reality, it would be easier to bring the animal here.
We asked Dr. Myers to use the laser and try to make a perfect 1/8 inch deep circle in a chicken.
You can see the red aiming dot, and we're going to begin to remove some of this tissue. And you can see as it's removing this tissue that the burn is fairly flush. Notice the dark scab that forms around it, and we can continue to remove this tissue in deeper and deeper levels. Okay, we're going to go to the scalpel and try to demonstrate what sort of, let's leave this here for some contrast, and we'll take this second piece of flesh, and I'm just going to make a similar size circle and try to duplicate this wound over here, simply with a knife. When I remove this piece of skin, that there's, in contrast to the laser, no surrounding scab or blackness. And this is just a clean wound. The edge is nice and smooth, and the underlying tissue is unaffected, of course, by the knife. Compared to the laser burn, the surface of the removed tissue was darkened and somewhat burned.
Here is the scalpel cut again. Not perfectly round, a few angled edges. And here's a perfect oval, cut on a steer we filmed in San Luis, Colorado on October 6, 1979. And here are two clean oval excisions from a pregnant cow found on March 10, 1989 near Hope, Arkansas. This is the first time that I got excisions from the mutilator's cut and worked with a hematologist, pathologist in Denver named John Altschuler. He examined the tissue from this cow and some others under a microscope. The cows that we examined were found in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. In Arkansas, these 5 pregnant cows were found lying in a straight line on the L.C. Wyatt farm. This pregnant heifer had 2 bloodless cookie-cutter excisions from the rectum and vaginal area. Something cut open this pregnant cow, allowing the unborn calf, still in the embryo sac, to slide out onto the ground. A local newspaper photographer who took this picture said, "There was no blood on the ground or on the body of the cow or calf. There was also no dampness on the ground or any water or body fluids, and the embryo sac was completely dry." This photograph shows the large, bloodless 18-inch by 22-inch cut in that cow's belly. Dr. Altschuler and I received tissue samples from this mutilator's cut for microscopic examination. Dr. Altschuler found that the cut had been subjected to high heat, probably around 350 degrees Fahrenheit, because the blood had been cooked, as these orange blobs show in this photograph. In contrast, this is what normal cow tissue looks like. And the mutilations continue into 1990. In January, the Concord Tribune ran above its masthead this headline, "Rash of Animal Mutilations Blamed on Satanic Cults." And in May, the Los Angeles Times ran this article about the strange bloodless mutilation of hundreds of sheep in England. And in June, the Idaho Statesman put on its front page this article, "Mutilated Cattle Baffle Idaho Ranchers Police. Cults UFOs blamed for 1,500 deaths since 1973. In this article, veterinarian Chris Oates stated that in a 1989 mutilation she autopsied, she found that, quote, "the organs and blood were missing and the heart appeared to have been subjected to a strong electrical shock," unquote. Then on January 8, 1990, The videotape I am about to show you was taken by Monty Gilbert, a freelance cameraman taping at a farm outside Louisville, Kentucky. Marty noticed unusual movement in the trees about 2 blocks away. Like wind blowing, he said, but there was no wind. Curious, he walked over with his camera, and this is what he found. Marty said that in the cold afternoon air, he could see steam rising from the calf's body. To his horror, nearly half of the calf's stomach had been removed in a clean, round cut. And yet there was no blood anywhere on the calf or on the ground. The exposed eye had turned a solid blue-white, which can happen if exposed to some type of radiation or high heat. He called the sheriff, who arrived with a United States Marshal and 3 FBI agents. Everyone at the scene agreed that there were no teeth marks and that the precise cut had a darkened edge as if burned or cauterized. But none of the law enforcement requested an examination by a veterinarian. That's been one of the problems in the 10 years since I began to investigate this mystery. Often ranchers and law enforcement don't even file reports on such bizarre deaths because they say nothing can be done. Yet the mutilations go on. Who or what is killing and mutilating these animals, and why? What you are about to hear is perhaps the first and only known eyewitness account of a mutilation by alien life forms. 10 years ago, when I produced my documentary A Strange Harvest about the animal mystery, I filmed the following hypnosis session with psychologist Dr. Leo Sprinkle and a woman named Judy Doherty. On a clear moonlit night in May 1973, Judy was driving back from a bingo game in Houston, Texas. She and her mother, daughter Cindy, and brother and sister-in-law watched a strange, bright light hover in the sky. After that night, she suffered terrible headaches and anxiety. In 1978, she underwent one hypnosis session which brought out part of her unusual experience, but not all of it. She also had several psychiatric and personality evaluations, all with results in the normal human behavior range. This second hypnosis session with Dr. Sprinkle occurred on March 13th, 1980.
Now you're standing outside your car. Now you're looking up. You can describe your impressions. What are your impressions?
It's like a spotlight that's shining down on the back of my car. And it's like it has substance to it. I can see an animal being taken up in this. I can see it squirming and trying to get free. And it's like it's being sucked up. It's taken into some sort of chamber. It's a little round, tiny room. And I get nauseated at watching how they excise the parts.
You see the animal being cut up?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How's it being cut up?
There's tissue. It's laid out flat and smooth. It glistens. And the needles, there's needles in it, or what appears to be like needles. It may be probes, I don't know. But it has a tube connected to it. And the same thing with what appears to be testicles.
Is anybody else around you?
I feel the presence of other things, but I don't know what they are. I can't see them.
Okay, just let yourself focus on what is happening inside the craft. Be aware of who is around you. It's okay. You'll be able to describe who is standing around you.
It appears to be 2 little men.
2 little men? Mm-hmm. How do they look?
hands look funny. They have long claw nails, like. They have very large eyes. They're very hypnotic. Like, they're so big that, and they don't blink. Their eyes do not blink. It's almost like, a snake. They were very snappy about their movements, and they knew exactly what they were doing, and I felt a little better because for some reason, they projected that it was necessary this be done.
At one point in the hypnosis session, Judy doesn't understand why she can see her daughter Cindy in the car 1 minute and gone the next.
Breathing deeply and easily, let yourself relax. You can be aware of yourself standing by the side of the car. You can be aware of yourself standing in the craft. And now let yourself be aware of where Cindy is.
I know I have a feeling of fear.
Okay, let yourself go on through the experience. Let yourself go on through the fear. What impressions come to mind?
I just visualize her on a table.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what happens next?
I'm afraid that it's going to happen to her, what they did to the animal.
Yeah. Just let yourself relax. Mm-hmm.
Forget it. No, I don't want to.
You can tolerate it. You know it.
No, I can't.
You know it's all right. Just let yourself go on through. Just relax deeply. You know that everything's going to be okay. You see Cindy on the table. What happens next?
I'm just afraid that they're going to hurt her.
Yeah, you're afraid, but you let yourself go ahead and let yourself go on through the experience. You can be aware. Just let yourself relax deeply. You can be aware of what happens next.
They put her to sleep, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You put her to sleep. Okay, what's happening now?
They're just examining her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so afraid that they're going to cut her or something.
Judy's anguish about seeing her daughter Cindy on a table always haunted me. What had happened to her? Cindy was only 20 years old when we worked with her mother, and she was afraid of hypnosis. But this summer, she called me and said that she was finally ready to learn more about what happened that strange night in 1973 outside Houston. By chance, she had moved to Missouri so we could work with her during our visit with Ron, Paula, and Springfield psychiatric hypnotherapist John Carpenter. Cindy had never heard nor seen her mother's hypnosis session and does not know anything about animal mutilations. But here are brief excerpts from a 3-hour hypnosis session which does match her mother's experience.
They're pulling up a cow. No, baby, it's a baby calf. It's a calf about halfway up, up in the air. And it's in this light and it's moving around. It's trying to get away. It's trying to get out. It's scared. I guess it's afraid it's going to drop.
Yeah, okay.
Its feet are kicking. I can see its mouth. It acts like it's crying, but I can't hear it. It got a head like a bug, kind of, just like a...
Well, what shape?
It's real rounded with a pointed chin. Like a little bit, like a cartoon bug characters is what they look like.
Are they?
Like an ant, sort of, I guess.
Like an ant,
They all got big eyes.
Oh, they got big eyes.
Yeah, all of them do. They got real big eyes. They still look like a bug. Oh, wait a minute. They look like a snake. Huh.
In what way?
The pupils, they got the long pupil in them or something like that. No, they look just almost like a snake. Or like a lizard or something. I'm fighting them. I'm trying to get them off of me. because I don't know what they're going to do to me. I think they're amazed with my braces. They're scratching on my inside of my throat. They're pressing on my stomach. Well, they're not rough.
Mm-hmm.
I think, basically, I don't really think they're trying to hurt me.
Okay.
But I don't want them touching me because I don't know who they are. They're scary to me. I can see my mom looking in the window. She's screaming. I guess she's screaming, "That's my daughter."
In the countryside around Springfield, Missouri, missing and mutilated animals are still a problem. The sheriff of Stone County received reports in March 1990 of calf and bull mutilations. They occurred near the pasture where Ron and Paula had seen the creatures take the cow. And one of the neighbors talked to the deputies who investigated.
A truck coming in, a flatbed truck coming in and scooping up the animals, and they put a tarp over them, and then that was the last that they seen or heard about them. They had looked for tracks, and there was no blood or any fluids at all in the cows. They had made the comment that the meat or the flesh had been burnt off of the animals.
Anyone report seeing any strange lights?
A few weeks prior to this cattle mutilation, we had, my wife and I, speaking of we, come home early one night after work, and it was about 1:30 in the morning, and we spotted a large light over the south ridge from where I live. It was a very, very large craft, larger than anything I've ever seen in the air. I spent 4 years in the Air Force and been around aircraft all my life, and it was larger than any aircraft I've ever seen.
Is it like bigger than a 747?
Yes, it was like a battleship in the sky. It was huge.
The number of Springfield residents who have seen strange craft and alien creatures keeps increasing. Beings with big eyes apparently did come and take her mother, Paula, in 1987. Paula had serious medical problems afterward.
Somewhere.
Following a hysterectomy in 1989, she and Ron decided to find out what happened to her. John Carpenter uses hypnosis on a regular basis in his hospital work as a hypnotherapist and has been helping abduction victims since 1988.
Different little spots.
In this session, Paula finally broke through a memory block to discover that the aliens inserted some kind of machine into her vagina and uterus.
They got there's this big bubble that's over my body, and it's like clear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these little scoops, like they're scooping. And then they take it, and they put it away, and then they come back and get some more.
Now you said there was a pain in your stomach area. Now put your hand where that pain was. You can feel the pain.
Right in there, and in there.
Now your lower stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Now describe exactly what it reminded you of, that kind of puffiness and pain.
Just puff, and like bad cramps. Real bad.
But you can definitely feel something long and cold with a definite shape going way up inside you.
I could just feel the pressure. And then once it came out, that's on a thing. And it came out, and it just was long and gray, and it had a sharp end, and then all these little, look like pink bubbles shot out on top of the bubble. From inside me.
Uh-huh.
It brought this out, and it shot this out on the bubble, the clear bubble.
Uh-huh.
All this pink
little bubblies. And they just, all of them put their fingers in it. Just like touching it. You can't tell it to stop or nothing.
Okay, when they take those samples away, where are they going with them? And are they all doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and this big, tall green thing. Does it remind you of any particular animal or creature on Earth?
It just reminds me like a lizard.
Like a lizard.
Lizard-type creatures and small white beings. Different alien descriptions, but always involving some kind of physical examination and removal of tissues. Are humans and Earth animals being used like a crop, harvested for unknown alien needs? One Missouri woman says she has been taken repeatedly by insect-like beings since childhood, and was even shown infant creatures that were said to be part human and part something else. This lizard-type creature, large-eyed being, and diamond-shaped craft were all drawn by a Missouri woman named Jean. She is a 30-year-old mother who says she has been abducted repeatedly since childhood. She met Paula, Ron, and Ron's brother through John Carpenter's work with UFO abductees. Comparing experiences helps cut the loneliness and isolation each feels about coping with trauma the rest of the world still says is crazy and cannot be.
What makes me mad is, you know, there's so many incidents, and how can people think you're crazy or, you know, and until they see it, they don't understand, I guess.
And then after you see it, then you go, whoa.
Your heart starts beating.
Start having a heart attack. Yeah, and you go, whoa, that's a UFO. It's happening in your own, you know.
It's not science fiction.
It's like, I don't believe it.
Yeah. I wonder why they're doing what they're doing.
I don't know what they're up to. Why they keep trying to experiment on people? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to help us? Are they trying to hurt us? Are they trying to get themselves better? Are they sick?
All I remember is being told at one time that they needed what they were taking for them to survive. That
Did they ever tell you what they were taking? That they needed to survive? Or they just that they...
Oh, just, you know, the eggs and stuff.
Yeah.
That their species needed it to survive.
Did they ever tell you what they did with them after they took them? Or? Yeah, I know doing that, but is there any other?
There's a colony.
Colony?
That I've seen, that I was shown one time.
Where they all go? Where all the eggs go?
I'm not sure whether they all go, but I was told that's where the children are.
The colony? Would that be in space, or would it be on this Earth, or
no, it's out, way out somewhere.
Way out somewhere.
Because I wonder if every person that they take the eggs out of, if they make a baby out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes you wonder.
They showed me a baby and they said it was mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to feed them. They brought this bowl of the smelliest, stinkiest stuff, brown goo, and I had to rub it on them, on their
all over the bodies.
Yeah, on the stomach, on the back, and they absorbed it, and I did that, and after I did that, they had to shine a light on it. You know, and it just kind of absorbed into the skin.
That was the way they were eating then? Okay.
And it just, I remember
rubbing it on them and feeling the pleasure of the baby thing. You know, it was like, oh, you really.
Were these baby human type, or were they human in appearance, or were they?
No, they were kind of a mix.
Of what?
Like the hybrid mix.
Yeah, if they could, like how we're set up with the digestive and all this trash, and you could like take, well, they're part of absorption factor, and then our part of maybe emotional or whatever, you know what I mean? Split, just take your DNA and go, take what you want and put theirs in, like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they're doing. And then it also makes me wonder if they're taking all our stuff and screwing us up and then making us sterile.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's awful funny that a lot of women, then after they have this program go on, then though they gotta have hysterectomies and all this trash and with the estrogen and all that.
Did you ever ask them how they thought it was if it was right for them to come down and just take the parts that they needed and stuff? That they needed to survive?
Protested, and it was just, it's necessary.
Just necessary.
So what they're going to do what they want to do regardless, what we think.
Yeah. It don't matter whether we want them to or not, they're going to do it anyway. More or less.
In other words, we have no say.
You got no choice.
It's necessary, like we say.
Well, what gives them the right?
You can't stop them. They'll just zap you.
Yeah, but what gives them the right to do something like this?
Well, the feeling I've got from them is like, you know, we don't like it, but
there ain't nothing we can do about it.
As far as they're concerned,
we don't matter.
The survival of them, of
their race,
yeah,
of them, is more important.
Is more important.
John Carpenter has been a psychiatric hypnotherapist for 11 years, working in a Springfield hospital during the day, and often leaving to go across the street to a borrowed office where on his own time and with donations only, he works on UFO abduction cases, collecting drawings and other data in large binders.
Linda, let me show you. I've got a case here where we have a reptile figure that appeared.
What color was this one?
Green.
And
also kind of camouflaged
right.
in the trees.
And this one?
That was a whitish gray creature.
So here you've got the whitish gray, and they look like they're sort of similar heads. They've got the vertical pupils.
See how they emphasize the pointed chin there? They really emphasize that.
So here's the vertical pupil, but over here, this is the one that most people...
That's pretty typical. And yet the same girl drew this. So she saw something else.
What is your own sense now of the role that these reptilian lizard people are playing in all of this versus these grays with the big black eyes?
At first, when a different kind of pupil came up, it came up with the, what people are calling hybrids. And, for example, in these two children, which are part human and part other world, you can see they have a similar vertical pupil.
And this was described by the abductee as being hybrids, half human and half something else.
It was a very emotional experience because she wanted to be near what she called her two children, and they were kind of leery of her. They weren't sure, as if she were the strange-looking one instead of them. Now here you can see very clearly the same type of cat eye, and this was clearly not a young baby, but an older, perhaps adolescent, aged hybrid.
What about this?
This again looks somewhat like a praying mantis or something, and
now in the praying mantis, in your work so far with abductees, do you feel that there's a difference between this praying mantis, between the grays with the big black eyes, and with the lizard people? Is this a different type?
This figure in particular was considered to be ruling over everything that was going on, overseeing it. I really can't get an idea of what's going on. With Ron and Paula's case, they described the lizard man as more like a laborer that was in the background.
If you were going to try to delineate who the aliens are, how would you break it down?
Well, it feels like a zoo at times. You don't know what to think. And a lot of people might think, well, this just figures people would make up all sorts of different creatures. But that's not the case. There's only a few differences, and then there's a lot of similarity among those creatures. What it means is just extremely difficult to tell at this point. But we're not short on data. Cases continue to pour in, and as time allows, we just gradually eke out the material and try our best to make sense out of it.
And what's your own personal opinion right now on what the hybrid story is? Is it real? Is it something we don't understand?
It's a difficult story to completely understand, although it's very clear that they are taking samples of eggs and sperm, and they are doing something with them, and they are producing odd-looking babies which do look half like humans and half like them. I mean, and the detail there is strikingly similar with the thin hair and the large eyes, but very frail-looking bodies.
But how do we know for sure that sperm and ovum are taken? I mean, how do we know that there are hybrids?
How do we know that they're taking? Well, countless hypnosis sessions recall the pain, physical pain, as that is occurring. And in some cases, they even are told telepathically that they are doing things with our genetics and altering certain properties, sometimes hinting that it will help them and us both in the evolutionary process.
How could there be some kind of a crossbreed between something that appears to be insect, something that appears to be primate, and what about us, the primates, that no one has ever asked, do you want to be in a half-breed experiment with us?
Well, I certainly don't think these are your typical pond frogs or grasshoppers. Obviously, if that is what they are related to, it's highly evolved, and if it's highly evolved, no telling what their capabilities are. And certainly they probably know how to mix and match better than our technology would.
The government must know a lot about it. Why do you think that there's been this story leaking in little bits and pieces now for over 40 years, and more people are affected by something that looks like either an insect or a reptile? Why shouldn't the government just own up to the fact that there's something that comes and goes here?
Perhaps the issue is one of control. If they have no control over what's happening, if they can't stop it, why would they want to admit that?
Whatever the reason, silence and scorn have been the official government stance with the public. However, I have seen documents which indicate secret government agencies have been studying and monitoring alien life forms on this planet since at least the 1940s. In spite of government public denials, there is mounting evidence in human testimony that alien life forms are intruding on this planet now. Why is still unanswered, but genetic harvesting certainly seems to be part of the story. Genetic harvesting to make hybrids? But again, why? What are the implications for us, the human race? Isn't it time that we all shared in this remarkable story that we are not alone in this universe? In Earth Mysteries, I will continue to bring you videotape, photographs, documents, and other research materials from the many researchers around the globe who explore the strange and unknown. I welcome your comments, questions, and your own experiences.
One that can see.